Time for the business news. Delana de Silva joins me. Delana, good morning to you. We start off with some much-needed good news for the French economy for once.
I know, Rita. From protest to this, Rochelle, good morning. It's turning out to be quite the week here in France. After unemployment sharply fell for the month of March, the economy has grown 0.5% for the first quarter of 2016. The increase in GDP comes as consumer spending grew at its strongest pace since 2004. The strong data is much-needed good news for the French government and could indicate the economy has finally turned a corner. Now, companies here in France have long complained about high corporate and payroll taxes that make their goods uncompetitive. Some have found a solution by relocating their plants abroad. Many choose Morocco, where salaries are about 6 times lower than here in France. Shirley Sitbon reports.
These low-cost Dacia cars were made in Morocco. They're about to be transported to Eastern Europe and may never set a wheel on French soil. And yet they're classified as French cars. Renault, their manufacturer, says that making low-cost cars in France is impossible because production costs are too high.
Producing a car for 7,000 euros isn't easy. If you have any chance at all of doing that, you need to go to a country that offers low production costs and well-trained workers.
In Morocco, minimum wage is at 215 euros, 6 times less than in France. And work isn't limited to 35 hours per week.
We work 8 hours every day, 6 days a week.
Those who produce in Morocco pay far less taxes than their competitors in France. No VAT, no corporate taxes for 5 years, and they pay no tariffs when they export their merchandise to Europe. These favorable conditions are the reason they move their plants to Morocco. They say that strategy helps create jobs in France.
We hired 150 people in France and 400 people here, so you can't say we've relocated our business. It's a co-located factory.
In recent years, France's biggest companies have brought business to Morocco, transforming what used to be an empty field into a vast industrial park. Morocco has built a school on the site, training students for highly qualified jobs needed in the French industry.
Delano, we're all keen to know how are the markets set to end this week?
Well, we start out here in Europe, where stocks have opened lower this session. All the main indices trading in the red at this hour. The CAC 40 here in Paris down over 1%. It seems like markets here have not really had a time to digest the good news coming for the French economy. It also looks like it's going to be a negative end to the session over in Asia. The Hang Seng is currently trading down at this hour over 1%. A similar picture across the board. Sensex and Bombay completely flat at this hour. Next, the man tipped to be Treasury Secretary if Donald Trump ever did become US President says he sold all his shares in Apple. Billionaire investor Carl Icahn says it's all China's fault. In comments made on CNBC, Icahn says Apple is a great company and its chief executive is doing a good job. But he cautions that Beijing could come in and make it very difficult for Apple to sell there. It's not been the best week for the tech giant. Apple reported its first quarterly revenue fall in 13 years and the first ever decline in iPhone sales this week. Icahn's comments sent Apple shares plunging 3% at the close. Let's take a look at some of the other stories we're tracking for you now. An online retailer, Amazon, reported a 28% jump in revenue for the first quarter. Net income in the same period came in at $513 million. This is Amazon's 4th straight quarter of earnings success, and analysts are now wondering if the company can maintain profitability. Reports in Italian media indicate China's richest man could have his eye on AC Milan. Alibaba's Jack Ma has so far brushed off speculation he's interested in the club. This week, AC Milan says it had received interest from Chinese groups. Jack Ma has recently been on a shopping spree. Earlier this year, he completed his purchase of the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong. AC Milan is currently owned by Italy's former Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi. And the chief executive of the New York Times is facing a multi-million-dollar class action lawsuit. Two black women in their 60s who work in the paper's advertising department accuse CEO Mark Thompson of introducing a culture of deplorable discrimination. The suit alleges not only does the Times have an ideal customer who is young, white, and wealthy, but the ideal staffer who is young, white, and unencumbered with a family.
Well, finally, Delano, to one of Britain's most innovative companies who wants to revolutionise, if you will, hair care.
That's right, Rochelle. They did this with the bagless vacuum cleaner, bladeless fans, and now they want to bring change to the hairdryer. Yes, we're talking about Dyson, of course. The company will soon launch the supersonic hairdryer, which they say is lighter and quieter than anything else out there. Research into the new product didn't come cheap. The company spent around £50 million, and that means the hairdryer won't be for everyone. The supersonic is expected to retail for around £300, around $400. I don't know what you think there, Rochelle. Would you buy it for that much?
I like the sound of it, but it is quite pricey, 300. I think I might stick with
If
the
you can do
hairdryer
it
that I've got.
quicker.
If you could do it quicker and more quietly, perhaps. We'll see. We'll see once
For
it
those
comes
early
out.
morning shifts, huh?
Delano, thanks very much for the business round.